Hi, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm back again for the last deck tech this week. This one's very different. It's a card that I know has been talked about for limited as not being very good. I haven't seen it turning up anywhere in standard or modern or pioneer yet. And I haven't really seen anyone talking about it as a commander card either. So I've decided today I'm going to give it a go and see if I can actually make this work in commander. Now I'm not saying the deck's anywhere near competitive before we get there. It isn't competitive. Well, it'll be competitive. You have some fun with it, you annoy your opponents, you're probably going to get killed a lot when you see it. But at the end of the day, I think it's worth having a go with this card and seeing if we can actually turn it into a commander that can be respected. And this is really a very rough starting point. So, without further ado, let me introduce you to the Raven Man. For 1 and a black for a 2/1 legendary human wizard. At the beginning of each end step, if a player discarded a card this turn, create a 1/1 black bird creature token with flying, and this creature can't block. Then it's 3 and a black and tap it. Each opponent discards a card. You're going to do it at sorcery speed though, so that's a bit of a downside. So, this is a weird one. I'm not 100% sure why it's in the set of Dominaria United. I don't know why is going on with it. I mean, I don't know the storyline. If you know the storyline, let me know below in the comments, but I have no idea where the Raven Man's come from. But I've decided it's probably worth having a go at trying to build a mono black control-ish, discardy, beating kind of deck. I'm not sure if it's going to work. I'm not sure I'm on the right lines with it, but I want to try and build something. So, we'll go through the usual bits and pieces. So here it goes. Lands are in. Notice I have got Cabal Coffers, I have got Cabal Stronghold, and somewhere in here, there's Urborg. Everything we're going to have is going to be a swamp, so you know the combo with this. Likewise, we've got a load of lands that aren't swamps, because we are going to play Field of the Dead, we are going to play Fabled Passage, and we've got to try and make sure we start hitting these zombie tokens. They're probably going to be one of the ways we actually have a chance of winning with this deck, or at least surviving. The rest of the deck, outside of the random selection of ramp cards, because we've got Mox Tantalite, Soul Talisman, Sol Ring, Arcane Signet, Charcoal Dial and Felwar Stone in here. I put Felwar in because that's going to tap for black once you get Urborg in play. And the chances are, even if it doesn't tap for black, you can use it to ramp with, hence why it's here. That's the kind of the rampers we're going for, but it's really difficult to find, in Magic anywhere, cards that say each opponent. I think, you know, our Raven Man over here is one of the few that I could find when I was doing a search that could do it. I'm sure I've missed some. There may just be some I've missed when I've been trying to pick them up on the trade bots here on MTGO. If there's any I've missed, yeah, let me know down below. We can change the deck and add it in. But this is my starting point. So, the starting point for me, Despise to target someone who might be playing lots of creatures, which is most of the people. Inquisition and Kozilek, if we've got any blue players, try and get rid of those annoying counter spells. I've also got the Quest for Nilstone in here as well. Whenever an opponent discards a card, you may put a quest counter on it, and at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, if that player has no cards in hand, and the quest has 2 or more quest counters on it, you may have that player lose 5 life. So that is like a fairly good win condition, because we're going to hopefully be emptying hands out quite quickly. To start with the emptying of hands, we've got Burglarat, we've got Elderfang Disciple, we've got Elvish Doomsayer. They all do the same thing. Comes into play, each opponent discards. So, yeah, it's not a bad thing on turn 2. Jadar's in, just to give us a creature we can attack with. Liliana's Triumph's in to deal with anything, so we can get our opponents to sack things off. And if we control a Liliana Planeswalker, which we will do, hopefully, they also discard a card. Virus Beetle does the same as the previous 3 mentioned creatures. White of Precinct 6 in, just so we can get the creatures that are being discarded to give this a pump. Hopefully we'll get quite a few creatures out of our opponents into their graveyard, so this goes up big quickly. And then Zulaput Cutthroat, for when our creatures die, we do a little bit, they lose 1, we gain 1. So that does that. Dariel's in. It does target a player, which is a bit of a sign, but at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, if they have 1 or fewer cards in their hand, it does deal 2 damage to them. So it's another little minor win condition here. We're probably not going to use the -1 at all, to be honest. Demon's Disciples in to control the board a little bit. Liliana's Scrounger. If your creature died this turn, you may put a counter on a Liliana Planeswalker you control. We do have Lilianas coming up shortly. You'll see them in a minute. Merciless Executioner does the same as the Disciple. Mind Rot's in, it targets a player, but we need a discard, so that's why it's in. Likewise, Oath of Liliana's in as well, just so we can have some bit more creature control. Playcrafter, you've seen them before, we've got all 3 in this deck. Retreat to Hagra's in for the life gain and life drain. Abyssal Nocturnus. I realised this was good, but whenever an opponent discards a card, it gets +2/+2 and gains Fear. Fear is really quite good at the moment, because it's got to be blocked by artifact or black creatures. Not, non-coloured creatures, whatever. It's got to be a black one or artifact one, and there's not many of them being played at the moment, so we might get in some damage with this, because we will hopefully be making our opponents discard regularly. Bontu's Last Reckoning came in. It's not the best Wrath variant in the world. I have got Damnation in the deck as well, it's over here. But I've put Bontu in because realistically we'll get to a point where we don't need to worry about having our lands on tap, I'm hoping. And so 3 mana to blow the board up of all the creatures seemed like a good plan. Braids has snuck in, a bit more control. We can sack things off if we need to make them do other things. So hopefully we get to draw some cards or they lose life. Liliana Heretic Healers in. I will be basically getting this into play and then hopefully having one of the 2-drop creatures in and just running it forward, hoping it gets killed so we can get this flipped, because this does let us discard cards when we get there, when we get it flipped to the Planeswalker. Liliana the Last Hope's in as well, just a bit of creature control realistically for the -2/-1, and then we can mill a couple of cards and return a creature from our graveyard to our hand. If these do get killed, that gives us a way of getting them back to do the discard trick again. Runer's Path, just to blow up any annoying Planeswalkers. We can awaken if we need to as well, so that's an option. And Bontu's Last Reckoning. I don't know why I've put Bontu's Last Reckoning? No, Bontu's Monument. We've got a few creatures in the thing, and black creature cells, we do get some that get a bit expensive. This is where we're reducing their costs, so hopefully that's what it's here for. But the little, everyone loses one, we gain one, might help as well. Heading into the 4-drop land, going with Chittering Witch to create a number 1/1 black rat creature tokens equals the number of opponents we have. So hopefully this will give us 3 rats, and then we can sack a creature to do the -2/-2 if we need to. Creeping Dread. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player discards a card. Each opponent who discarded a card that shares a type with the type of card you discarded loses 3 life. So it does give us the discard bit as well, which is quite nice. And it also does mean if we've got the Raven Man in play, we do get the bird tokens every turn off it. So I figured it was worth having a go with this to see what happened. Unnerve was one of the few I could find that said each opponent, so that's why this went in. Damnation I've already mentioned. Liliana, Waker of the Dead's in as well. +1, each player discards a card. Each opponent who can't loses 3 life. Gives us a little win condition, and hopefully we'll get to the -7 on this one, because I'd love to be able to do that. The Rackling and the Viceling are creatures based on old creatures, the Rack and the Vice. The Rack and the Vice I did try and pick up, but they're so ridiculously expensive at the moment I left it alone. But these were really cheap, and at the end of the day, if they're creatures, they block, and we get a little bit of damage prevention from them, but hopefully we'll be able to keep them around to do the 2 triggered abilities. Going up to the 5s, Banshee of the Dread Choir's in, mainly for the Myriad. We can bring it back, attack with it, get all the nice copies as well. And whenever a Banshee of the Dread Choir deals combat damage to players, that player discards a card. So just attacking with it, hopefully we'll get people getting discarded, which means we get more little birdies. Crux of Fate to blow the world up again. Elvish Dreadlords here for the same reason. I haven't seen many elf decks recently, I haven't seen many creatures that are elves, and I think this is worth playing. Even if we can encore it at some stage, it means when they all die at the end of the turn, that means everything all non-elf creatures are going to get -9/-9. It seemed like a good plan to me, and with things like Cabal Stronghold and Cabal Coffers in the deck, it should be pretty easy to get up to that 7 mana we need to encore it back if we need to. Grey Merchant of Asphalt's in. We'll get a few things in play. We'll have a few bit of mana. We have a few black mana symbols kicking around, so we might gain some life this way. Junji's in. Obviously, when this dies, this is really about the discarding and the losing 2 life. But it might be a case that we need to get, we have Grey Merchant in the bin. If we kill it, if Junji gets killed off, we might have enough black mana symbols left to kill everyone in play with Grey Merchant. So we'll see. Had to put the traditional Liliana Vest in as well. +1, target player discards a card. Not great, but it does let us search through some of the things that we might need that help us win the game. I've chucked up Nicholas the Black Noth in this one, just because I wanted to, and I had it kicking around, and I had a slot left, and I thought I'd have another Planeswalker, so I went with Ob Nicholas instead of one of the more expensive versions of Liliana. It is nice because it will give us a 5/5 Black Demon, and okay, we lose a couple of life, but having a 5/5 blocker might help. And also, +2, each opponent loses 1 life and we gain life equal to the life lost this way. Isn't a bad little return. Everyone loses 1, we gain 3 every turn, so until we kill someone off anyway. Palace Siege, for the Dragon's ability, no other reason to have it in here. The Khan's one is going to be really unlikely to be played, it will be the Dragon's one. Sir Conrad the Grim's in as well. Whenever a creature dies with put in a graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, or a creature leaves your graveyard, Sir Conrad the Grim deals 1 damage to each opponent. Yeah, we're going to go with that. Tegrid's in as well. Whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-token permanent or discards a permanent card. See where I'm going with this, can't you, everybody? We get to have that in on play on our battlefield. I really want to play it as the creature side. We may have to play it as the Lantern at some stage, but having the ability to make our opponents give us the stuff they're discarding seemed like a really good plan. Varrock was something I had completely forgotten about from Baldur's Gate, but at the beginning of your end step, if a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, each opponent loses 3 life. Hello, yeah, we can surely make some way of making things leave the battlefield, I'm sure. So that's why we're in it. Plus it's 3/3 flyer, which isn't the worst thing in the world. Mind Stab, target player discards 3 cards. This is going to be suspended and probably targeted at the person who's winning when we get there. There's no way I'm just paying 6 mana for it. It's going to be a 1 mana suspend for 4 every time I draw it. Kakush goes in. Let's get in some life this way. Be a bit of a pain of the big flyer. Rakisha Debase is another encore one. When it attacks, put target creature card from defending player's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. 8 mana, get all the copies we need of it, do it again and nick some more creatures. And since we're going to be making them discard cards, I would imagine there will be creatures in graveyards, hence why this is here. Scythe Scepter, this one I picked up is Commander 2011. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, each opponent discards a card. Yep, like that. And each player discarded a card with the highest mana value among cards discarded this way loses life equal to that mana value. That's quite tasty. So hence why it's appeared for this deck. The Horns of Hightower, when it attacks, defending player discards a card, and whenever a card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, you get to put +1/+1 counters on it. We're discarding a lot. Having a flying thing that can go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in 1 turn is probably a really good plan, hence why it's here. Uragos, the Empty One, is a legendary creature from Dominaria, the original set. When it deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card at random. If that player can't, you draw a card. Which is nice, because if you can hit someone who's empty-handed, you're just going to get that extra card draw you might need for this deck to make it work. Butcher of Malakir, just a bit more creature control. Likewise, Hollowborn Barkhurst, if I've got that right. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have no cards in hand, each opponent loses 2 life. We will be emptying our hands quite quickly, I think. And at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, if that player has no cards in hand, they lose 2 life. So, they could be losing 4 returns to this, and 7/6 is going to be hard to kill outside a Wrath effect. Or, maybe they'll nick it off me. But beyond that, I thought it was a good plan. Kalitas, the Blood Chief, it gets in as well. 3 mana, 3 black, destroy target creature. If creature dies this way, create a black Vampire creature token. Gives it power equal. Its power is equal to that creature's power. Its toughness to that creature's toughness. So basically, you get a token version of it, vampire token version of it, but without all the abilities like flying, vigilance, first strike, etc. I'm not sure about Myojin's the Night's Reach. I just put it in. It's quite nice though if you can get it in play. It comes with the Divinity counter, which means it's indestructible. And if you can remove the Divinity counter at any stage, each opponent discards their hand. Going to be useful for us, I feel, in this game. Sinian of Darkness, just in so we can cycle it if we need to, but when it deals combat damage, we can nick one of their creatures as well. So we're going to be nicking creatures left, right, and centre. Possessed Portal, if a player would draw a card, that player skips that draw instead. At the beginning of each end step, each player sacrifices a permanent unless they discard a card. Not sure about this, but I figured it was worth a bit of a laugh, and it might annoy some people at some stage, especially if they're skipping their draw step. So we'll see what happens. Last 2 cards you can't quite see. Rise of the Dark Realms came in because we are playing Cabal Coffers, and the other one's name's just slipped from my head entirely. Stronghold. Getting up to 9 mana to nick everyone's creatures should be pretty straightforward, since we're going to be making them discard a lot of the time. And finally, Torment of Hellfire. Yeah, this is probably the biggest win condition we have in the deck. It's going to be very good once we can get the coffers and the thing online again. I've forgotten the name again. I'm terrible today. My brain's gone. Coffers and Stronghold. That's the phrase I'm looking for. Once we get the Cabal lands, there we go. Let's go with that. I can remember that. The Cabal lines up and running. This is going to be significantly dangerous. If we can get sort of like 8 Azek, so 10 mana, wouldn't be that hard to do. And with 3 life lost, if they've got no cards in hand, they're either going to sack their board off to stay alive, or they're just going to die there and then. So, like I say, it's really rough. I'm not sure if some of the cards are good. I'm not sure if some of the cards are needed. But the Raven Man is here. I will be playing it on stream very shortly. I hope you've enjoyed this. I might have even played it on stream by the time you watch this video, but we'll see. I might hold it off and play it when after the deck tech's gone up. But in the meantime, let me know what I've missed. Come let me know in the comments down below. It would be lovely also, if you haven't already, if you hit that subscribe button to my YouTube channel. I'd really appreciate that as well. We're at 40 as I record this. So we're 960 off hitting that magic 1,000 YouTube want you to have. But hey, 40 is better than nothing, so at least I know I'm not talking to myself. So thank you to my 40 subscribers. I really appreciate being here. It's lovely of you to do so. And just a quick shout out to the people who subscribed this week. I had Chris Milton, Babis, Codis, Kelvin Jones, Gelly Ven and Spinelli MTG come and join this week since the last load of videos went up. So thank you all for that. The other thing I'd really like you to do, if you've got a Twitch account, come and join me on Twitch. I'm over there. I'm streamed 3 times a week. I'm trying to just get up to 150 followers before my birthday, which is very early in October. So we're at 109 at the moment, and I shout out everyone who comes and gives us just a follow over there as well. Likewise, don't like asking for it, but if you've got an Amazon Prime subscription, or you've got any spare subscriptions kicking around, you don't mind liking it, you don't mind sharing them with me because you're enjoying the content I'm putting here on YouTube, I'd love it if you came and be one of my subscribers as well. All my subscribers at the moment, because I'm trying to get there, just get the little VIP symbol at the moment. But hey, if you want to do it, I'd really appreciate it, and I'll give you a shout out. And you can send me some messages and let me know what cards you'd like me to see to cover in deck techs. That's one of the things I will offer to subscribers going forward. So thanks for watching the video. Take care, and hopefully I'll either see you on Twitch or you'll leave me some comments on YouTube soon. Take care. Bye.